We recently had a chat about what the best travel lens is for Fujifilm, and there were some brilliant responses out there, a whole world of options. And I wanted to show you one option for what could be the best travel camera from Fujifilm. This is the Fujifilm X-T100. You can get it for around £600 with this kit lens. We're going to take a look at it close up first of all, then take it out and about randomly, throw up some straight out the camera samples and see if it really can do a job traveling or day to day, or perhaps more. Interesting, you get a USB charger without checking the pack. I'm not sure if you get the cable too, but it's a USB 2. Everybody's got these cables now. I was a little bit annoyed that my X-T3 didn't come with the new USB cable, as I'm, one of a bunch of us that still doesn't have a USB-C cable. So for my T3, I've got to get that. It comes with the 15 to 45 lens, which we looked at with the X-A5. You can check out my review. It feels nice. I'd like a bit more grip here, but they're putting this as an entry level, but with the APS-C Bayer sensor. This dial here is programmable, 18 different functions, but this dial on this side isn't programmable, but changes according to what mode you're in. In the mode that I most use it, that's dealing with my exposure compensator, just as I think most Fuji bodies, at least most of the Fujifilm X bodies that I use does, although obviously this doesn't have the dial at the front like some of the bodies, so that is literally where you're dealing with your exposure compensator. But that's cool, that's fine. Nice clicks across this. It's nice and simple. Yeah, it has the silly modes, which you shouldn't be bothering with. You should be in M, A or S more than anything. You got a panorama there, but remember, supposedly entry level. You do have in fact a pop-up flash. You'll notice a dial there which you can actually press as well. These buttons, they feel alright, not as pronounced or necessarily responsive as the T3, but this is a different level. Remember, display back, that's quite flush there. This is a nice bit of sort of molded grip there, sort of a plasticky texture as opposed to a rubberized texture, but that's all right, that's not a big deal. Here we've got a little screw, which means you can take the grip off. That's pretty cool. On the bottom, business as usual with the tripod screw thread mount, the speaker, battery, W126 and a card slot right in there. This socket over here also doubles as your external mic port, and it's only the 2.5 annoyingly, so you're gonna have to use, and I will be using, an adapter to put a 3.5mm mic in there. I think we forgot to mention something. When it was first released, I was like, okay, interesting, and I was like, who cares really, whatever. But then I saw it does this. I almost considered putting my hand straight in my pocket and buying one, because that is just what we've all been waiting for, frankly. There's something else that got people kind of interested, and that was the fact that the sensor, while being 24.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS, is a Bayer type filter array. And I think we all thought that that was Fujifilm moving away from the X-Trans and the internet haters, worms, blah blah blah. That Bayer has proved to take on a bunch of fans, and it's interesting we didn't see it on the X-T3, but that's a whole different conversation. This thing has the usual mod cons of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB charging. Yeah, it's got 4K video. We might mention that later, but frankly, it's not worth bothering with. Worth mentioning, there's no Acros in this, but you've got all the other film simulation modes that you might need. You got 6 frames per second. The autofocus area is pretty decent. ISO performance, well, we're going to shoot a little bit, but let's just say for what it's supposed to be, it's really nice. Let's just put this lens on so you can see what it's like with the kit lens. I think it's a nice looking thing. The screen is actually pretty responsive. it's good to go. Let's get it set up and get out and have a real good play with it, because frankly, who needs to see it up close anymore? First things first, if you set this into manual, get your shutter speed right. It does appear to be decent with this lens in good light. Of course, once you get into trickier lighting, that's where you'll start to see the difference, and you might want to look at getting the 18 to 55 as an upgrade. I wanted to see how this camera would fare in this kind of awkward light. I mean, we're probably going to have some pretty grey days soon. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. Let's just move around a little bit. It claims to have found me, but what do you reckon? Not too sure, really. I feel like when I shift the scene, the video is just not catching up. Some reviews really did slate not just the 4K, but the 1080p as well. I'm not sure. I think it's kind of limited as I thought it might be, but I'm going to keep testing it and see how we fare. And I want to get this little guy here, so I'm literally just going to flick this round and point it. See if I can zoom in. I'm going to hit the focus just to make sure. Watch what happens when I zoom out. Did you see the jumps? Now we'll pan across. One jump was there. Another one. We got to remind ourselves that this is down as an entry-level camera, but it feels like it should be more. Or maybe I'm being greedy. I'm not completely convinced about the video capabilities yet. Stills, that's another thing entirely. Right, let's try a little bit of 6 frames per second on this boy. I'm not sure if it's a boy or if this is even focusing. Right, let's flick it over. I thought I had the face detection thing figured out, but now on the screen it's not telling me that it's found me, which is a bit awkward because the light's not that bad. I mean, we've got a bit of streak here, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't like being hung upside down. Let me see if I go closer and see if it follows me. I can't go too close with this lens anyway. That looks alright, could be wrong. Tap on the screen to be sure. Go back. It's a bit dark to see anyway. Tap on the screen to be sure. I don't know, what do you reckon? Another thing, not a big fan of this start, stop, record button. Bit heavy-handed to be honest, bit awkward. I mean, we're gonna hit stop now and hopefully actually stop this time. I think I've got used to it again. As this is basically a great little travel camera from Fujifilm, I thought it would be cool to bring you up to one of the spots I recommend visitors to my city,
the Library of Birmingham. It's a free way to get panoramic overview of the city, take a few nice snaps and see the renovation work that's going on. While I'm up here, I've switched the XF18 to 55, which I would recommend as your upgrade path from the 15 to 45 that's included. Definitely check out my video on whether I think that's the best travel lens, and that's what we're going to be using for the stills from now on.
It's a lot more positive than you might imagine. For a start, stills, beautiful, brilliant. If you want something you can travel with day to day, the stills out of this are nice. It doesn't have across, which a lot of us black and white shooters really enjoy, but I found myself really drawn to the monochrome plus R, the red filter images. There was something about it, something magical. Maybe it was just something in my brain, but I really enjoyed it, and the colours were nice too out of this camera. Even with the kit lens, it's not a bad place to start, and certainly this lens is in keeping with the body. This is my preferred camera between the XA5 and the X-T100. This just feels smarter, feels a little bit more solid. The video quality was not where I wanted it to be, and in fact that's the reason why I never bought one when it came out. I was really excited when that screen was announced. I mean, at first I saw, oh, new camera, X-T100, I don't know, not sure if I'm that bothered, and then I saw that screen and I thought, oh, now I'm bothered. But I've given it a lot of testing. It just isn't where I personally need it. Not that I'm a pro video shooter, vlogger, anything of the sort, but I've got needs when it comes to things just being quick, accurate, and the exposure shifts being smooth, and I find the Canons work an absolute treat. If you're looking to get into Fujifilm mirrorless cameras and you don't want to spend too much, the X-T100 is an excellent choice, especially for stills. For video, well, I'll leave that for you to decide. Being a pro photographer and now a regular video shooter, it just wasn't there for me. All in all, more or less a winner from Fujifilm, and definitely at the budget. Is it more than an entry-level camera? Well, stills wise, yeah, I mean, look at the power that you've got on something that's apparently entry-level. The stills potential is real good. Yeah, the low light, it only goes up to 6400, and it's pretty good, you know. It's not there for the pro world, so don't look at it with your pro eyes. I read on one site that it's aimed at Asian women. Asian women are cool. Let us know what you think about the X-T100, if you've tried it or if you're considering it. Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, say hello. Yeah. Stay tuned.